I watched my friend Mike work 14-hour days for 3 years straight. Gym at 5 a.m., side hustle till midnight, 0 vacations. Meanwhile, his college roommate, the guy who barely graduated, just sold his company for 8 figures. Mike asked me, "What am I doing wrong?" And I told him something that made him go silent for a full minute. Because the truth isn't inspiring. It's not on Instagram, and it's definitely not what the gurus are selling you. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, and that changes everything.
Here's what nobody tells you. There are 2 games happening at the same time. Game 1, the one everyone can see. Wake up early, work hard, post the grind, optimize the routine. Game 2, the invisible one. The one where outcomes aren't tied to hours. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people spend their entire lives winning Game 1, while the scoreboard is in Game 2. Psychologists call this effort justification. Your brain tricks you into believing, if I'm suffering, I must be progressing. But effort without direction is just expensive motion. Think about it. You've seen people work twice as hard as their boss. You've seen creators pump out daily content and get 0 traction. You've seen students study for hours and still fail. Because here's the secret. Visible effort is a performance. Invisible leverage is the actual game. And most people never even realize there's a difference.
Let me show you what separates someone stuck in the grind from someone who breaks free. It's not talent, it's not connections, it's not even luck. It's understanding leverage, the ability to get disproportionate results from the same input. There are only 5 types that matter. Number 1, time leverage. Someone else does it. Number 2, capital leverage. Money does it. Number 3, code leverage. Software does it. Number 4, media leverage. Content does it while you sleep. And number 5, network leverage. People amplify it for you. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most people are taught to optimize their input, work harder, be faster, stay longer. The top 1%, they obsess over their multiplier. They ask, how do I build something once that pays me forever? A plumber trades hours for dollars until retirement. A plumber who films 10 YouTube videos explaining common fixes, that's 100,000 people watching and paying while he sleeps. Same skill, different game.
Let me tell you about Sarah. She spent 2 years building an audience of 47 people. 47! Her friends thought she was wasting her time. Her family asked when she'd get serious. Then one video hit, then another, then a brand deal, then a course launch. 18 months later, she's at $40K a month. But here's what most people miss. Sarah didn't get lucky. She made an asymmetric bet. Downside, a few hours a week, maybe some embarrassment. Upside, infinite, unlimited, uncapped. Meanwhile, most people avoid asymmetry like poison. They take the safe corporate job. Downside, 40 years of your life. Upside, a predictable ceiling. They avoid posting online. Downside, potential judgment. Upside, a whole new career. Psychologically, humans are wired to avoid loss more than they seek gain. But the elite, they've reprogrammed that instinct. They don't gamble. They position themselves where luck can find them. You know what's rarer than a world-class designer? A designer who can write. You know what's rarer than a great coder? A coder who understands marketing. Here's the thing nobody tells you. You don't need to be the best at anything. You need to be rare. And rarity comes from combination, not mastery. Take Joe Rogan, average comedian, average commentator, average interviewer. But comedian plus commentator plus long-form conversationalist, top 0.001% of media influence. This is called skill stacking, and it's the most underrated strategy in existence. Because while everyone's trying to be the best writer or the best marketer, you are quietly becoming the only person who's both. And markets don't pay for the best, they pay for the only. Let me destroy a myth real quick. Discipline is not a character trait. It's not something you have or don't have. It's a designed response to your environment. I'm gonna prove it to you right now. If I put a pack of cookies on your desk, you'll eat them. Not because you're weak, because they're there. If I remove your phone from your bedroom, you'll sleep better. Not because you suddenly got disciplined, because the architecture changed. The top 1% don't fight willpower battles. They don't wake up and decide to be strong. They remove the decision entirely. No phone in the bedroom, no junk food in the house, no distractions in the workspace. They win by not playing. This is why motivation fails. This is why just try harder doesn't work. Because you're not fighting a discipline problem, you're fighting a design problem. And design always wins. Okay, here's the part that's gonna make some of you uncomfortable, because it's the real filter. Success isn't hard, it's boring. Day 1, exciting. Day 30, motivating. Day 90, Day 365, soul-crushing monotony. And that's exactly where 99% of people quit. Not from failure, not from hardship, from boredom. Your brain is a novelty-seeking machine. It craves dopamine hits, new content, fresh stimulation, which is why you can't stick to anything. But here's the secret. The people who make it aren't more talented. They're more tolerant of monotony. They train themselves to find satisfaction in repetition. Because once the excitement fades, and it always does, the only thing left is the process. And if you can't love the process, you'll quit the second it stops feeling good, which means you'll quit before it ever works.
Here's something that'll mess with you. The best product doesn't win. The best known product wins. You think people hired Steve Jobs because he was the best engineer? He wasn't even an engineer. They hired him because of narrative, because of trust, because he controlled the story. Talent without distribution is invisible. Skill without reputation is worthless. And here's the kicker. Reputation compounds faster than skill ever will. Someone with 70% skill and 100% visibility will always outperform someone with 100% skill and 30% visibility. The elite understand 3 things: how they're perceived, where attention lives, how to tell their story. Your narrative determines your opportunities, not your resume, not your qualifications, your story.
All right, final truth. The real reason most people never get ahead isn't lack of knowledge. It's not lack of opportunity. It's something psychologists call the identity delay. Let me explain. When you start something new, there's a gap between who you are and who you're becoming. In that gap, you look foolish before you look credible. You earn nothing before momentum arrives. You're misunderstood before you're respected. And that gap, that's where 99% of people quit. Because we're wired for instant feedback. We want proof, validation, results. But mastery doesn't work that way. It asks you to be patient in a world that rewards speed, to stay boring in a world that celebrates novelty, to keep building when nobody's watching. So here's my question for you. Not how do I get ahead, but am I willing to stay in the gap long enough for it to close? Because if you can, you don't need hacks. You don't need motivation. You don't need luck. You're already ahead. You just don't know it yet.